Hey guys, I just want to start off and give you full disclosure. I'm doing this with an iPhone and I do not have special equipment, so just bear with me on the quality. I just wanted to give kind of a little bit of a rundown of the story of this car. If you know me personally, you would probably recognize this car. I've had this car once before. It was sold and it's come back around. So there's a long story to that, which I'll get to a little bit later, but I wanted to kind of start off and just kind of introduce you all to the car. So if I get interest in these videos and people want to ask questions or see more, then we'll keep going. But I just thought I'd like to try to share a little bit about it because I think it's a neat story. So I care a lot about it. You may or may not, and if you do, like it, and if not, that's okay. What we're looking at is a 95 Mustang GT. That is of course, a 5-liter car. It's the same 302 5-liter pushrod based engine that's in the Fox bodies that have become so popular. This is the SN95 chassis. It is would consider it a very good, if you're looking to get into this type of thing or get into cars or Mustangs, that platform is gotten really cheap. It's actually cheaper to get into an SN95 car than it is a Fox body. But that's a whole nother story. But I did want to give you guys a little bit of information about the car. We'll start with that, and I'll kind of walk around and show you what we've got going on here. So it is obviously, like I said, a 95 car. It's a last year for the 5-liter. The car is pretty rough shape, so it's going to be pretty common for what you'll find out there. Paint's in rough shape. Bodies have dents and dings. Odometer quit working, so we don't really know the mileage of the car. It's showing 125,000. That's questionable. Somebody's changed the wheels. That's not the factory wheels. This car came with the 17-inch, kind of what I would call like a 3-spoke. I don't know what they're actually called, that wheel package. This car was originally automatic, and I'll walk you over to that. It has been converted to a 5-speed. We actually swapped this to 5-speed back in probably 2001. I think so when we did that swap. That's another long story, and we'll get to that later. We'll walk around to the front here, and we'll kind of talk about the motor and some of the other aspects of the car. It's your basic change the wheels, cowl induction hood, modifications, exhaust. Most of the time you'll find these cars with exhaust and maybe gears, different things, but this one's a little bit special. It's got a built motor in it. So again, it's I'll start with that and kind of go over some of the modifications. It's a factory 302 block. About 75,000 miles on this car. We pulled the motor and put trick flow heads. We did a special ground cam, trick flow intake, all the supporting parts that go along with that. 70mm throttle body, bigger mass air, 24-pound injectors. It's got trick flow push rods. It's got trick flow 1.6 roller rockers. Adjustable fuel regulator. It's got all the aftermarket ignition. You can see the fuel pressure gauge there. That went probably, I don't know, 15,000-20,000 miles or so, and then it actually blew a head gasket. So I took the motor back out of the car for a second time a couple years down the road from that, and we ended up boring the block 30 over. There wasn't any issues with it, but we just wanted to go ahead and freshen it up. So 30 over on the block, all new bearings, factory crank. We just polished the crank, factory connecting rods. We did put a set of it was a DSS bullet in the box kit, and if you guys are familiar with DSS, they do a lot of different parts, but that was roughly like a 10-to-1 compression forged piston, good rings, that type of thing. in the block, and that was really just to freshen it up. Those pistons have been valve relief cut to trick flow heads. This does have the I think they were 170 heads. That was kind of before, back in 2000, early 2000. That was really before they had a couple different options. The R head I think may have been out around the first of that, 01, 02. But these are just your basic trick flow. I'm assuming they're 170s. It's 64 cc chambers, 202 valves, 160 on the exhaust. So pretty nice head, pretty nice setup. Back then, you didn't see too many of these. Nowadays, it's kind of a little bit more common to see this type of setup. But it runs good. It's a good combination. It makes good power. They claim this type of setup will make us somewhere around 350 horse, 360 horse. That's probably at the motor. I don't know if that'd be to the wheels. Probably not. But so that's kind of the motor setup. It has long tube BBK headers. It has the matching off-road H pipe with a. It has a. I can't remember the brand, but it does have an actual X pipe, not H pipe. It's got, and of course, that's all 2.5-inch exhaust. It goes into Flowmaster catback, like a 40 series, and 2.5-inch tailpipe. So all the exhausts from the headers back are 2.5-inch, and it's got a really good sound to it. And we'll start it up here in a little while and kind of show you that. But that's got pretty much most of the motor modifications. And I'll come back around and we'll talk about the suspension stuff.